Good morning. On study services done on two services. Yeah. Yesterday class you taken the exchange rate is a static value, guys. This is a static value. A static value, how much you taken here? 88.5. Yesterday class currency service girls you taken the static value, but today static value required a dynamic value. Dynamic value, that value is coming from what? Exchange rate, right? The value is coming from the exchange service. See guys, just to call the other services, go for the REST template previous approach. Go for what approach guys here? REST template. Go for the REST template equal to, just I'm directly creating object, new REST template, I'm creating object, then REST template dot get for entity method is there. Get for what? Entity. So get for entity method is there, you are going to call the URL, right? What URL you are going to call them? That URL we have to give here. What the URL? What is the URL we are going to call? There is a question. What is the URL you are going to call? That is like localhost. Tell me localhost 8006. We can say 8005. 8005. This is like from ASD to IN, something like that. We got the data here. Just let me take that value. Yeah, fine. Localhost. Localhost, how much does here? 8005. Yeah, this is the URL we need to take and paste that URL here. See that URL guys here, localhost you are calling what? Sorry, who is calling it? This is a currency exercise, a currency conversion service. Currency conversion service. Currency conversion service is calling what data here? Exchange data, right? So exchange data service number like 8006. 8006, so any data is there starting now. So go for the exchange service. Let me check the controller URL one. So go for the controller class. Go for the controller class. Yeah, the controller class. So directly we have the data like from and to directly. So directly from and to means go for the currency conversion controller. Currency what? Conversion controller. Currency what? Conversion controller, right? Yeah. Currency conversion controller we have. 1 second. This is the data. Yeah, this is the controller, currency conversion controller. Yeah, you call that from ASD to what is here? INR. So ASD to INR, REST template is communicating with what? Other services, right? The REST template is communicating with other services. REST template that what? Get for entity, then we can go for what? Localhost 800 what? 6. From ASD to what? INR. See guys, from ASD to INR, directly we need to give the static value or the value coming from the client. The value coming from the client. Where is the client data here? Currency request object, right? That's what good. Just you can close the string up to this one here. So directly yes here, the value coming from the request. The value is coming from what? Request. That's what is currency request dot get what? From currency to currency. From currency. Get from currency. Just you can place the plus double quotes /2. /2 or what? INR. INR is like from currency to currency. To currency, right? See guys, from the data is the input is coming from where? The input is coming from the currency request. Currency request dot get from currency / what? 2. Then here you can write what? Currency request dot the data are there in what object? Request object, right? So you can go for the get to currency. Get to currency, guys. Hey, you got this object. So get for entity is calling this URL. What is URL returns to you? URL is the currency exchange object. See guys, to hold the currency exchange object, but the currency exchange object is there in what class? What service? Exchange service. You please copy the Exchange service data, guys. Go for the Exchange service because see, you are calling this service. After calling the service, we need to capture the data. What data we want to capture? You want to capture the currency exchange object. But currency conversion people, do you have the currency exchange class is there or not there? Not there because currency conversion should not contain what? Exchange object, right? That's what guys, I copy pasted like currency exchange object here. Then we can paste the currency exchange. See guys, yesterday class currency conversion contains only how many models? Two models. Currency request and what? Currency response. Now we are calling the exchange service. When you call the exchange service, what we need to hold the exchange values, right? To hold the exchange values, you are taking what object here? Exchange object. Even though you have to be girls, that is your responsibility. Then you are calling the service. And then what the response you got? Currency exchange object, we have to hold it. But do you have the currency exchange object? That's what currency exchange object present with what layer? Exchange service, right? That exchange service model class is there now that I copy pasted in what class is here? Currency conversion. Currency exchange object is pasted here. Once if we paste the currency exchange object in that place, then tell me guys, you call the data. We can hold the data like currency. Tell me guys, currency what? Currency exchange object. Response entity, we are capturing object, currency exchange object, currency exchange. Currency exchange and we got the what object this here? Exchange object, right? What object? Exchange object. You can write the exchange object. You simply can check it. You are calling that URL. What that URL returns means exchange object. That's what we are holding what object here? Exchange object. But conversion does not contain exchange object. That's what you copy pasted exchange object from what layer to what layer? Exchange layer to the conversion layer, right? Yeah. Once you got the exchange object, guys, exchange object is ready. Then exchange object dot. See, guys, exchange object dot. From the exchange object, what do you want? Exchange object, what do you want? You got what object? Exchange object. From that exchange object, what you required? Exchange rate required. Nice. You got exchange rate. That's what guys, you can call the exchange object dot get exchange rate, you have to call the method. But you see that get exchange rate method is there or not there? Not there. So because see, when you got this call from what? Other service, first you get the what you can call guys exchange rate directly there or not there? Not there. Because that guy maybe written the status code, so header, body and all. Where is exchange data is there? In the header, status code, body. Exactly. You get the body. Exchange object dot. The exchange object contains the body. Because you are calling a service. What the service can return? Exchange object was okay, but you are calling what? Service. When you call the service, what the service can return? Object some service you are calling, the service can return the three values. Status code, header. Status code is header and what? Body. Then you can call what? Body. From that body, you can call what? Get exchange rate. From that body, you can call what? Get exchange rate. Guys, now you got the exchange rate, guys. This is exchange rate, which is of type is double. You can take, no problem. That's all, guys. Then you can write the currency request dot get quantity into exchange rate. Then the exchange rate will come, no problem. Okay, that's the data here. That's all. See, guys, yesterday class you taken the double exchange rate is what? Static value, dynamic value of static value. You commented that like we can delete that code here. You can create what of the demand as template. How many days one service can call another service? What is 3 ways. One is what? One is what rest. One is the rest template. Second one is what web client. Third one is what field client. I'll go for the rest template. I'll go for the field client. You write the if you want to code for the web client. You write the web client. I'm writing what rest template and field client. What are the ways one microservice can communicate with what? One service can communicate with what? Another microservice. One microservice, one service will communicate with other service in what? 3 ways. One is what? REST template. It is what like web client. Third one is what? Yeah. So REST template object you create directly, then you can call the methods. REST template dot what you can say get for entity. Give that URL. Once you call the URL, you need to map the data to second argument, guys. What is second argument? Tell me, guys. Here, currency exchange dot class. See, get for entity expecting how many arguments? What are there? 2 arguments. Argument 1 is what? URL. Argument 2 is what? Argument 2 is what? Argument 2 is a type of the data. Because you are calling the service, right? What is service returns? Service call now. You are calling this service. The service is returns what? Exchange object. We need to map that response to what object? That object we have to give right side. Assume that you are calling the URL like product. Then it returns what object? Product object. Then second argument is what? Product class. Like it is mapping the data. What data guys? Mapping the data. Okay, that is the mapping the data. The response entities. Okay, sometimes you forgot this return type. You don't think too much about the return type. You call the REST template dot get for entity. First argument is a URL. Second argument is capturing the data. What data you captured? What data you captured? Currency, exchange. But you don't know return value. No problem. If you don't know return value, control 2, you can type assign to local variable. Then automatically response entity is written, right? What is written here? See, how many times you call the APIs? What the API returns what object? Get for entity, we are calling the API. What the API can returns? API ఏం రిటర్న్ చేస్తుందిరా? API what it returns means you have to tell the response entity. API what it returns? API returns the response entity. That's what you are calling the API that returns what object here? Response entity. Of what object is returned? Currency exchange object, right? Then you can write the currency exchange dot what current exchange object dot get body dot. Because he returned what object? Response entity. Response entity contains how many fields? 3 fields. Out of 3 fields, which field you want? Body field. So what exchange object dot get body dot what? Get exchange, right? We get exchange what? Right? But that's it, guys. That is the REST template is working fine. Please cross check somewhere something error, small error. Any error is there? Yeah, this one, guys. This one is what? Delete this one, fine. Guys, then simply can run this project. How many projects are there total here? 2 projects. Now, in the yesterday class, you are getting the static value, dynamic value. Static value. Now, we expected static value, dynamic value. Dynamic value, right? Just click on the start. Once you click on the start, we got the data. Got what? Data. Just click on what, remind me later. Then 2 services are running. Once the 2 services are, just you can check is going to occur. 1, 2 services. Currency conversion and what? Currency exchange. Currency conversion and currency exchange. Yeah, the 2 services are up. Once the 2 services are up, and you please go through the URL. Let's go for the post mapping, right? The post mapping is important because client is sending what request? No, get request or post request start for post request. Then giving how many inputs to you? How many inputs? 3. What are the 3? From 2 and what? Quantity. Go for the from 2 quantity USD to INR. The quantity is how much? 10. Click on what button? Send. Once if you click on the send, now you can see the output. Expected answer is what? Yeah. Exchange rate is how much you got, guys? 65 because it's a USD dollars. ESD tunnels means we are getting value so much mark 65. 65 is a static value, dynamic value coming from the exchange rate. Dynamic value is coming from what? Exchange rate. Because you change to this one is what? Pound. Just if you change to the pound, just click on what? Send. If you click on the send means pound. The client is requested currency service. Is giving inputs is what? Inputs. From and to and quantity. You calculate the total amount, but you don't have the exchange rate. You call the what service? Exchange service by giving what data? From and to. You give the from and to guys. Once you give the from and to, now they will give the exchange rate with you. Now they return what the exchange rate is here. They given the exchange rate is what? 105. Now see guys, 105 you got the value, right? 105 means what? Previously you got how much? 65. Now you got how much? 105. Static value, dynamic value. That is called communication between the two layers. What between the two layers, guys? Communication between the two layers. We are going for what? REST template or web client? REST template, yes. How many ways one service can communicate? Answer is yes, 3 ways. What is what? REST template. Second is the web client. Third one is the end client. Here, our example, what service is calling what service? Conversion service is calling exchange service by giving how many inputs? Getting what is output? Exchange. Output. End of points, guys. That's all for the day. In our project, the currency conversion is communicated currency exchange service to get the communicated exchange service. Inputs from under get the exchange object. The method user to can object. What's the rule of get for entity? This method used to call the rest APIs. Taking how many arguments? Split into two arguments. One is URL. Second one is the response type. What is the return type for this one? Response entity. The response entity contains what values? Status code, helper, body will be. So from that you have to get what? Body. Using what method? Get method. Then get the required value. Required value means what is the required value here? Value. to request for the currency object. At least that idea you have, that you are great actually. That idea you have, that is what? Great. Guys, that is the data. That is like, get for entity. Get for entity is doing like, what is the get for entity? Get for entity expecting how many arguments? Two arguments. One is what? UI. Second one is what? Response time. And get for entity method return type is a response entity. Then we can get the corresponding value. Good. Get the corresponding value. See guys, let me go for the web client. Our second approach was here, web client. See guys, to write the web client code, web client code, what code am web client? Web client is not given by WebMVC guys. Web is not given that, what is this class guys here? Web client. Web client class is not belongs to the web, which is belongs to the new dependency that is called WebFlex. What dependency name guys? Yeah, WebFlex. That's what guys, to work with web client. I decided guys work on web client, but I know that again you have to copy the dependency, place the dependency, and that's what I am doing the work. Fine. Guys, go for the WebFlex dependency. So go for the currency dependency, currency format XML file, guys. In format XML file, you add the two dependencies. One is web dependency we added already. When you go for the web means what? Spring Boot starter. Tell me guys, what web is there? Spring Boot starter web dependency is there. Spring Boot starter what? Web dependency. You add one more dependency WebFlex dependency. Because WebFlex dependency only provides what class is web client class. What class ma? Web client. The web dependency is directly providing the REST template, no problem. But we go for what? Web client, WebFlex. WebFlex add. You add the WebFlex, then only you will get the web client. Then you please create the object for the web client, guys. To create the object for the web client dot what? Create method we can use. That's what you can go for the web client. Yeah, so keep on loading the data. Please stop it. And just you can write what class. The second one is what? Web client. See guys, web client equal to web client dot, the method is called create method. What method ma? Create. Guys, here you can give the URL. Tell me guys what the URL here? HTTP localhost. When you create the web client, guys, you give the only the URL. That's all. You don't give the from and to and endpoint value. Hey, this is called server. This is called server IP address you can give. Don't give endpoints. See, endpoints does not contain the server URL, guys. See, the total the URL contains two parts. One is the server, one is server IP. Second one is what? Endpoint. API/v1/from to the all of what? Endpoint. What we can say guys, endpoint. They said check the endpoint. They never check the URL. URL contains what? Endpoints and IP address both. Endpoint and what? IP address. That's what guys, real time he told that check the endpoint. Because server's real time fixed, right? So your server is what? Fixed or changing? Server is fixed. Server IP address you don't need to check. You need to check the server IP address, you need to check the endpoint. You need to check the URL. Here you are saying every time call the URL for understanding purpose. But in real time we are saying call the URL and call the endpoint. Call the endpoint. That is a call the endpoint. That's what web client. What client web client. Create the web client object. I create web client object with the given what URL. That is a URL I given, right? Exactly. Okay, then you write the web client dot. We need to give what from and to, right? From and what to. And web client dot what method guys? Get method. Get that URL guys. What the URL tell me guys? That is called URI. Endpoint is nothing but what URI. Give that URL guys. What the URI tell me? From is what? From slash. Just you can write the stop it. Yeah. Web client dot get off. What you are getting? Endpoint you are getting. What the endpoint here? From braces from. Next one is what? To braces to. Then how many path variables we have to give? 2. Then you can write the currency request dot. Currency first path variable guys. See, URI is taking the argument guys. First argument is what? Endpoint. Second argument is what? Any path variables are there. How many path variables you need to pass total here? 2 path variables. One is what? From. Second one is what? Low. Guys, you can give the get currency request dot what? Get what request? From request. Get from currency, comma. Third argument is what guys here? Currency request dot get to currency. See guys, you are given two arguments like from currency to currency. These values are automatically substituted to what the path variables. Automatically substituted what path variables. Guys, the applying dot get dot URI dot next one is what retrieve the data guys here. To retrieve we can go for what retrieve. We need to block that go for the block API guys. Go for what retrieve. Retrieve, see, after retrieving the data, guys, retrieve will get the data. After getting the data, what data you will get? Hey, you are getting this URI. Getting this URI means you are calling the API. After calling the API, see guys, web client is very clear. In the real time, it is infrequent web client and field clients. Web client is what? First to make the IP address, next to make the URL, then go for the retrieve. We retrieve the what we can say exchange object. We retrieve what object? Ma? Just to exchange the object guys here, we can write the body to mono. Body to what? Mono. We need to capture the body object guys. What body here? Currency exchange dot class. That's all. Dot what method you can use like block that API. So that's a blocking request guys. I'll tell you what the blocking request in the evening class 5. Just you can call what? Block. Hey, something like web client. First you create web client object by giving the server API address. Right. A REST template directly everything is there in one place. Directly one URL. The starting approach. And second one is what? Web client. Web client you create web client object by the server IP. First it will check the server is valid or not. Once the server is valid, then send a request to what endpoint. Server itself is not valid, then what the use of sending the request? But get for entity means do you have that approach? Everything is there in a single line. Everything is there in a single line. But here single line separation. Separation. One is what? Creator. One is what we need to create the web client object. Create the web client object by giving what? URL. By giving what? Then it will check the server is available or not available. If the server is available, web client object is ready. Once the web client object is ready, using the web client object, get the corresponding URL. Corresponding URL. Retrieve that response guys. Body to mono means assign that to body. What body guys here? Currency exchange. We need to block request guys. That's all. See guys, now this one you are calling the data. Then what the return type for this one guys here? It returns what? It returns like response entity. See guys, previously REST template return the response entity, but here already you taken the body to mono, right? Directly you are capturing what? Body. Right? Directly you are capturing what? Body. Previously we are getting the response entity, then you are calling one method. What method? What method? Body. So previously you are calling the like you are calling the URL. The URL returns what object? Response entity. Response entity to do what? Tell me response entity to what? Get body. But here response entity to get body, directly body to mono coming up. Directly body. Directly body means what? You assign to directly what? Body. We directly assign what? Body. What body here? Currency exchange. Directly body coming. Response the directly body coming. Then you can take the double. You can write what? Exchange. Tell me guys, exchange. You can write what? Rate. Exchange rate is there, and you can write the what? Exchange rate. What exchange rate? Currency exchange dot get exchange rate. That's all. Get exchange rate. I think the line is then the bottom side. Previous control X. Yeah, fine. That is the data, guys. That's all. Okay, if you want any proof for that, you do one thing. You stop something like you delete from the URL. And you go fine. Web client is what? Web client is doing what? Web client is creating the object with the server IP address. If the server IP is available, then web client object is ready. Then we are calling the endpoint. After calling the endpoint, directly body assigned. Directly body. Previously directly body, REST template dot get body again. REST template dot what? Get body. Now REST template dot get body to mono directly. Body to mono. Body to what? Mono. That is called body to mono directly guys. Now you please cross check the code and think the services are running what or not running or not running. You please right click on what? Start. Hey, which one is very clear? So REST template is clear, web client is clear. REST template is clear, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because that's what we are not using in real life. So me clear gunta then that's one for what. REST template, what is clear guys? Everything is there in one line. Everything is there in what? One line. There is no specific separation of data. Web client is what? First checking the server IP. Server is there, web client object is ready. Server is not there, then what? No, everything write in one line for you, it is easy. But again, internally, they should write the framework. People should write the code. First of all, get the IP address. Get the IP address. They need to write the more code. నువ్వు నేనేం చేశారు మొత్తాన్ని కలిపి కొట్టేసావు సో ఫర్ యూ మేక్ ద గుంపు ఈజ్ ఈజీ 5 members గుంపు ఈజ్ వాట్ ఈజీ రైట్ ఎస్ ఆర్ నో బట్ సర్వర్ ఐడెంటిఫై who is IP address, who is what we can say URL and what is the input server is very difficult. Again, I need to check all the people. I need to get the IP, I need to get the inputs, I need to get the base URLs. Yes or no? Yes, sir. మీకు ఇంత అవసరం లేదు బట్ రియల్ టైమ్ దిస్ ఆల్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్స్ యాక్చువల్లీ బట్ వెబ్ క్లయింట్ ఈస్ సేయింగ్ వాట్ ఆల్ ఆర్ గుంపు independent first time you get checking the web client IP address is there, web client object is ready, then you go for what URL inputs are correct, then go to retrieve is coming. After retrieve is coming, assign to what body to what now tell me which one is process is very perfect in real time, web client or REST template web client. Previously I see guys that is long back is a gumpu mechanism working, but these days gumpu is working or not working, everything should show your talents individual. You should show your talent is what individual. See guys, previously MVC projects all are working as a team. But these days, microservices, every service is what? Independent. Your work is what? Independent. Your work is not done by others. Previously, one JSP file or one timely file, multiple people are working. So that he can help you to how to write the timely and how to get the data, even if you are not writing, other can do. But Sprint is not like that. Sprint, they'll assign the backlogs to the specific people. User stories, backlogs. Scrum Master will assign the data. I'll tell you those all. Scrum is very dangerous. Scrum is Goopy is required. Scrum is like independent required. That's what. Then what is good? Is that REST template is good or web client is good? First step in web client is what? Create the web client object using the IP. IP is correct, then you can call the endpoint. Endpoint is correct, assigned to what? Body. Everything is there in step by step process. There we need to hold the response entity, then response entity again we need to call what? Get body, then call the exchange rate, right? What right, exchange rate. So previously also you better to go with these lines. Let me change. So first you can call the exchange rate dot get body. Exchange rate object. Exchange object dot get body returns. First you need to check with what web client is working or not. Yeah, fine. Guys, go for the web client. You check the two services are up or not. Yeah, you can check that two services are up or not. So because once the two services are up, go for the URL and you please check the URL and go for the 8005 APS/total amount. Click on what? Send. If I click on the send, you please cross check the data is coming or not. We are giving ISD to means what? 65 rupees coming or not coming? Coming. And you change this value is what? Pound. Just you can make it as a pound, click on what? Send. If you click on the send, then you please cross check the font is what? 105. 105 is coming or not coming? That's all guys. That is called web client. What request web client. Still you are thinking like previous code is working. You do one thing. You change some request URL. You change the request URL from currency to currency. Don't give the input values. Instead of input values, you please give the static values. Tell me the static values. Tell me here. ASD is there, right? Australian dollar is there. ASD to what? INR. Now web client is what is executing now here? Web client is executing. Is executing as web client. Web client is executing this. Now you see that web client is executing. Then you get the dynamic value, static value. Static value, please cross check. Even though you are sending the pound and INR, are you giving the web client pound INR or ASD to INR? So the expected answer is what 105 or the expected answer is something like 75 or 75. We don't know, guys. Click on what button? Send button. If you click on the send button, now you see the output. Now you got the output is what? So you can click on what? Send. Once if you click on the send, click on what? Send. The request is still is what? So what the getting is here? ASD to ASD to what? INR. ASD to what? INR. Click on what? Send. Once if you click on the send, yeah. It's working or not working? Not working. Because you know the problem is I didn't save. If you want, you can cross check. This is a conversion control. We have what? Star. Saved or not saved? Save. Save. Then what? After saving, now you can come to the browser, click on send. Once if you click on the send, still it is what? Reloading. Click on what send again. If you click on the send, if you click on what send, if you click on what send, are you sending what data guys sir? Pound and INR. But in the web client you are giving pound and INR. Yes. So the expected answer is what? 75, right? Yeah, this is 75 guys. So that you can understand that web client is working. Maybe you are thinking that sir his previous code is working, huh? Yes or no? You're thinking like, no, sir, intelligent, sir is executing the previous code. Now what? Rest of it executing, web client only executing. మరి సార్ మీకు వచ్చింది నాకు రావట్లేదు మీరు అది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేశారు ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ ఇస్ ఆల్ సోలీ డాట్ కామ్ సో నౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ రెస్టారెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ వెబ్ క్లయింట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ మా దట్స్ ఇట్ దట్ ఈస్ వెబ్ క్లయింట్ వెబ్ క్లయింట్ ఈస్ పర్ఫెక్ట్ రెస్టారెంట్ ఈస్ గుడ్ web client why first one is the id second one is the endpoint third one is the body there everything is in one line. Everything is there in what one line. Yeah, that's one. Write the points. Previously, you had this note, guys. When you current when conversion service is calling what exchange service. The exchange service returns what object? Exchange object to conversion. But the but the but the conversion service what does not contains conversion service is what does not hey మీరు ఎవరు కాల్ చేస్తున్నారమ్మా వాళ్ళు ఏం రిటర్న్ చేస్తున్నారు exchange job but do you have exchange object with you to capture that object means class required right? Then we have to paint what class but conversion service does not contains what object currency exchange object so copy paste the currency exchange class into conversion service. Copy paste the currency exchange class. Currency exchange class into conversion service. A second approach is what guys here? Web client. To get the support of web client, what dependence we need to add? What is the what is the dependency we need to add to get the support of what? To get the support of web client. What dependency we need to add to get the support of web client? What dependency guys? Yeah, you don't delete the web guys. That should be required. Then you can go for what? Spring Boot, Spring Starter, Spring hyphen, Starter hyphen, Webflux. Let me say, this is Spring Boot. Create the web client object by giving server IP. Web client object for the 10 points by giving the input. I am giving the static values or dynamic values. Okay, I'm static values రాస్తున్నా. I'm giving the static values. So you guys write what? Static values or dynamic values are? Dynamic values dynamic. Then if you write the static values, only that answer is coming always. Only that answer is coming always. Hey, what's the other one? Option person. Raju, when you're in the class, no discussion. You need to check the code, what the rest template is giving, and what the rep client is taking, what is the difference, where I have to pass the inputs. This discussion. If you are chit chatting and if you are sitting the silent in the class, that is a useless thing. Then you're going to the lab, in the gap, you get the 1 hour gap. When you open the notes, everything seems like new. That's what you are the failures. What you should do? Open the rest template. What code is it is taking? What is applied? What is code taking? On the flow, you will get the idea. Not only you, the girls also what chit chat. Evening, what they will sit up to 8 o'clock. So our time 8 o'clock. I will plan like that. No problem. Should always see the notes, what inputs are going, what inputs are coming, what is applied, what is the rest template, then you'll get the clarity. In the lab, open the note, directly you can do what? Work. If you are not doing like that, go directly lab. You got 1 hour gap, right? How much gap is there? 1 hour gap is there now? Because you go to the lab, directly you are doing work. No. Again, you need to chit chat with what? Office boys and what? Others. It will take time. Then after that, what we do? Open the notes. Then you don't know what from and what is a to. What is a from and what? What is the to? Then you take the online class link. Then you sit in what? Hostels. After 5 days, again you come. Okay. Wait, how many approaches were there to call the guys? 3 approaches. How many approaches we done? 2. How many you done? 2. How many you done? 2. Yeah. How many you done? 2. Guys, next one is like third approach, guys. Let me write the fee and client approach. Approach fee and client. So guys, to write the fee and client, what approach? Fee and client. Fee and client, fee and client. Yeah. Good. So guys, to write the fee and client approach, 3 approaches, guys. First approach, you write comment data. Second approach, you write, then comment data. Third approach, you write, then comment data. Like that, you should write how many approaches total you have? 3 approaches. How many approaches, guys? 3 approaches. By evening, all 3 approaches should be running. It's a matter of like half an hour max. For you guys, maybe 2 hours, not like 4 hours. Not like what? 4 hours. Yeah, see guys, let me write the first of all, your project enable the fee and client approach. To enable the fee and client approach, guys, which service is called which service, guys? Conversion service. Go for the conversion service. In the conversion service, first of all, enable the fee and client approach because you are calling the services. Then what? You should enable the fee and client. See guys, to enable the fee and client, open the currency conversion. Guys, you don't enable the conversion, enable fee and client, guys, because you are communicating and they are communicating. They are communicating means what? At the rate enable what? Fee and clients. First of all, you should enable the fee and clients, guys. To enable the fee and clients, at the rate what annotation, guys? At the rate fee and client annotation. Once if you enable the fee and clients, guys, you write the fee and client code. To write the fee and client code, you write what? Class, not sorry, fee and client is interface basically. New, I want to take what? Interface. Interface, just you can take the class name is like, tell me guys. Fee and client code. You take one interface name, guys. Fee and client code, something like interface I take in here. The package name is what? Dot fee. You take the package name is a fee, just you can click on the finish. See guys, this is the interface name. This is a fee and client. See, this is the fee. See, communication code you don't write in the controller. Previously, REST template, web client directly you're writing, right? But fee and client real time, what we are using is only fee and client, guys. No web client, there is no REST template, all are outdated. Going for the fee and client. See guys, only fee and client means you write the communication code in separate interface. Separate what? Interface. Without writing the code. Declarative approach. Without writing what? Code. Okay, this is like, at the rate fee and client. See guys, what service you are going to call, give the service name. Tell me guys, what service you are going to call? Exchange service. Go for the just double quote. The service name is what? Exchange. Yeah, you go for what? EXCHANG. Exchange hyphen what? Service. The second argument you give what? URL of the service. What the URL tell me here? HTTP colon. See guys, give the service name and URL. That is like, service name and what? URL. Because after that here, the fee and client interface. Interface, what we should write, sir? You don't write any code, guys. Just you write the method. You write the method. What method you are communicating? We just a method name, just you give the method name. What method you are communicating? Tell me. You are communicating what method? You are communicating what method means go for the exchange service. In exchange service, we have the exchange controller. What method you are going to communicate? Tell me. What method means this is a method you are going to communicate, right? What method you are going to communicate here? Just you can write the from and to, and this is a retrieve exchange value. Path variables are what? From and to, right? Exactly. Okay, that is the data. Just you can copy that URL, copy that method, and you can come here and just you can place that method in the fee and client code. In the fee and client code, just you can make that URL, guys. That's it. Nothing to worry. Just you can return type is what? Exchange object is enough because we are using like cognitive mono. Just you can remove what? Exchange object. See, there is exchange object. Retrieve. Hey, see, just you copy paste what method you are going to call. That's it. That is a fee and client enough. There is no like, you are like, you need to call the get body. These all are required or not required? Not required, guys. Just you can call that one, guys. And put the semicolon at the ending. There is no body, guys, here. Only method declaration you write here. Only what we have written, method declaration. That's it. A fee and client curve, just you can write the method declaration get mapping from and what to, from and what to. Wait, that's it guys. Fee and client is ready. In the fee and client, just what you written, just the method name, what method you are going to communicate. Method name, what method you are going to what communicate. That's all guys. Communication is done. Sir, I want exchange value, sir. Go for the controller. You please auto wire that fee and client. Auto wire what object guys here? Fee and client code. Fee and client code. Fee and client code. Just fee and client code is object is auto wired because you've taken separate interface, right? That is auto wired. Then tell me guys, after auto wiring, then you write the code is what? Fee and client code. Tell me, get fee and client code dot what? Fee and client, you written the method, right? In the fee and client, what method you written here? Retrieve exchange value. That method you can call it. Then fee and client code dot what? Retrieve exchange value. Give the from and to. Tell me guys, what the from and to here? Currency request dot. Tell me fast. Currency request dot. Currency request dot. Get case rate. No, never going to get put on. సాయంత్రం రావాలి ఇంటికి వెళ్ళాక ఏమైతే 10:30 అయితే మళ్ళీ పొద్దున్న వచ్చి చదవవచ్చు guys. That is what get from currency. Next one is what currency request dot get to currency. That's it guys, enough, nothing to write the code. So which one is very clear code? REST template, web client, fee and client. Fee and client means separate interface you take. What method you are communicating? Akkada method పెట్టేసేది. You place that method in that place. Once if you place the method in that place, then you get the currency exchange object. Currency what object? Exchange object. I auto wire that, then I'm making that exchange object, right? What object ma? Exchange object. Where is the line? Where is the line? Where is the line? Yeah, this is a good. Yeah. Fee and client dot, just you can write the control to currency exchange object, currency request and from request. Just you can write what? Control to and assign to what? Assign to control to. Control to assign to what? Local variable. Retrieve exchange value. This is a currency exchange object. Currency exchange object. Currency exchange object dot get exchange rate. Get what ama? Exchange rate. Now we got exchange rate, that's all. Just you write the fee and client code in separate file. You write the fee and client code in what? Separate file. Auto wire that object, you get the value. Auto wire that object. See guys, that is like auto wire that object. Where we auto wire here. This is auto wiring that controller layer. So this is auto wiring that, and you can call the data. Tell me guys, after auto wiring, what we should call? We should call the data like, what data guys here? This is the data. That's it guys. Just you can place the data like this. After auto wiring, you can get the data. If you want, just you can come to the browser. I think the services are running or not running. You please cross check once. Go for the services. Hey, how many steps? First step is what? Enable the fee and client. How do you enable the fee and clients? Communication code you write in separate interface. Auto wire that interface. How many steps? Step 1. Enable the fee and client. Second step, take the interface, write the communication method. Third step, auto wire that you can call that method. You can call that what? Method. That's it guys. The 3 steps we written. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, step 2 and what? Step 3. Hey, enable fee and client, where we have to place? Under the top of the main method. Top of the what class? Main class. Main method. Main class. That's it guys. And you please cross check the 2 services are up or down. Once the 2 services are up, just you can come to the browser, click on what? Send. Once if I click on the send, click on what? Send. Click on what? Send. Now you got the pound value guys. Yeah, you got the output. This is what value? Pound value. Pound value is how much guys? Yeah, 105. You please change this pound value to what? USD. Once if you change the USD, the value changing or not changing, just you can check it. Yeah, the value is what? Changing. How much you got here? 65. Once you got the 65, that is dollar rate, right? Previously what rate? Pound rate. Now dollar rate. Then fee and client is what? Working. Fee and client is what? Working, right? Exact. Guys, that's all guys.